Are we entering a phase? And firstly, how significant is this? I mean, some of these pictures are actually mind-boggling. We've seen, those Chinese robots carrying out martial arts. They could very well be loading the docks at any, port or, modernized shipping center. Are we entering a phase where AI is no longer automating repetitive work? We earlier thought it was going to hit out at white-collar jobs, but this video, clearly tells us and counters that argument, where AI is actually learning human instinct, it's learning human judgment, it's learning physical intelligence itself. How significant is it? I'm itching to use the word dangerous, but let's not go there just yet.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I think you brought out very pertinent points. As per the data, we've actually seen that with AI coming into play, AI was always there, right? Right from 2008 to 2010, we've been seeing universities basically bringing in a lot of research to the table. Now, it was all about commoditizing this and basically bringing it to the industry with all the benefits that we have actually seen. Of course, from a blue collar perspective, we've seen that there have been job displacements. And if you look at some of the statistical data, we've seen almost 5 million jobs got washed away in 2025. And 2026, we've already started with 7,600 jobs going away,
Yeah.
right? So, the idea is to kind of see that how do we kind of reskill these labors. Let me give you an example of, say, a cloth manufacturing company which does about 300 kilometers of cloth manufacturing on a certain board, and then does about 50 to 60 kilometers of manufacturing from a digital printing standpoint, has only three robotic arms. Just three robotic arms, and they basically get that. But there's always a fear of looking at if that gets compromised because of any of the cyber attacks or whatever that may happen. Essentially, they are going to require human intervention, and that's where we are saying that AI is here to augment uh, from a human in the loop perspective, and not basically go ahead and disrupt. Of course, let's look at the larger picture in terms of what's the positive side of it as well. We
Okay.
are talking about a job creation of 170 million, right? To be created very soon. So that is obviously a lot of reskilling is required.
In what
Training
domain
on the job.
essentially? I mean, I know reskilling is required, but aren't we trying to rescale the future of humanoid robots I mean, indirectly? Isn't that
So
what's happening?
look. At the end of the day, if you look at any economy, right? And I'm not an economist; I'm more of a techie. But if you look at any economy, we're living in the era today where it's not about the big. It's not about the big or the small. It's about the fast and the slow, right? And that's the way the era is actually moving, and we are transforming. We are transforming to do more. We are transforming to get more agile. Of course, we cannot forget about how we are going to basically leave out our blue collar workers. At the end of the day, how do we reskill them? How do we kind of get them to be there? For example, if you look at, you gave an example of shop floors, right? Today, they may not be involved in actually picking up and lifting and forking, right? That may be all through automation, but can they do account inventory? Can they make sure that the errors are bare minimal? Can they look at quality? Right? These are the things that one can look at. Plus, if you also see how the generations are moving, right? The daughter or a son of a blue collared worker essentially may not be blue collared anymore. So can we look at also reskilling them so that at the end of the day, it's the household which essentially is may not suffer this time, because
Okay. Okay.
the second generation essentially will be AI trained 101%.